Wild Card Weekend. I'm John Hansen, fantasypoints.com, the Wild Card Weekend edition of Matchup Points here, the live stream here at fantasypoints.com. Our guy Trey on the other side of the glass, and it's just me and Mr. C for, 30 minutes. We'll break down all the games. We'll talk injuries. Adam has been talking to a few coaches around the league who are out of the playoffs, but very well steeped in these playoff teams. So good evening, Mr. Caplan. How are you?
I'm looking forward to John. I'm looking for this weekend's games. We got some weather games, two of them, where it's going to be freezing cold. We've got some interesting matchups. We've got some revenge games. This was actually one of the better slates of Wild Card Weekend that I could remember. And the thing that I found interesting, and not that I don't bet on games, but I do talk about the point spreads. I'm usually typically very good at the wild card round. For some reason, I have very good clarity. Unlike the regular season where you never knew who the hell is going to play, what the motivation is, you now know. Why is it easier to pick games? Not that it's ever easy, but why is it easier? Because if you're a guy that was teetering on not playing the previous week,
right?
If you could get out there to practice, you're playing. I forget which player talked about. Oh, Devontae Smith was talking about that. Some other veteran players around the league talked about that. Hey, man, if I'm out there practicing a little bit, I'm going to play,
Yeah, it's kind of like early in the season, I find to be very accurate. And I think a lot of that is because guys are healthy. Granted, they're banged up nowadays, but we don't have TJ Watt not going to play, but let's get into it here. Let's start per usual. Our guy, Brett Whitefield, is got a previous engagement tonight, but he did supply, and of course, fantasy points data. Very successful year. We are littered here, Mr. Caplan, with data points. But we'll start with the first game on the weekend, which is Cleveland at Houston. Injury wise, here, it's fairly light. Cedric Tillman ruled out today, though. Adam.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in a minute, but this just happened late in the afternoon. Denzel Ward injured his knee in their practice today. He's a true questionable. Like, he's got the shoulder problem, which he's had for several weeks, but he'd play with that. That's not the issue. The issue is now this knee injury that unfortunately popped up in today's practice. Kevin Stefanski actually talked about it. Juan Thornhill, they're hopeful with his lingering calf problem. He's missed a lot of time with it. Boy, the Browns have gone through just a slate of injury problems this season. Amari Cooper will be back with a heel injury. It was more precautionary last week. They didn't know how much he could play if he was able to play last week, but he didn't play last week, but he's back this week. And the beautiful music him and Flacco have had together, pretty awesome. And then for the Texans, the good news is Will Anderson's going to be a part-time player. He's come back from a right high ankle sprain, so they play him in obvious passing situations. They're hopeful for Noah Brown, who finally got some work in today, John, because you know how he's kind of been a big surprise for them. Defensively, they're going to have their tackles. Should have their tackles. And Lee Collins and Sheldon Rankins, who've been banged up lately. Their ends are, we just mentioned Will Anderson, John Grenard, who's missed some time with an ankle injury the last couple weeks. He got some work in today. He's got a chance. His backup, Jerry Hughes, won't play. He got hurt. The ageless Jerry Hughes.
Like 46.
What's that? Is he 36?
No, I'm joking. I'm like, he's 46.
Oh, no, he's got to be in his mid-30s. Yeah, he's been around forever. In fact, Bill Polian drafted him so long ago. Wow. It's been.
Well,
and then he's out. But other than that, the other one is Robert Woods has a much better chance of playing this week than he did last week.
You mentioned Will Anderson. He was not active the game Flacco 3 weeks ago went off. As we get into it here, the deeper I get into this puppy, the more I'm a little concerned for Flacco. They're not going to run the ball well. Houston is lights out against the run.
Not last week, though.
Right, that's true.
JT killed him. In fact, I love the overprop because it was so reasonable. But you're right. Overall, it's like this veteran defensive tackle rotation, some journeymen, and they rally to the ball really well. They've really improved against the run. No, you're absolutely right. Just last week was a game where, for whatever reason, they just could not stop JT to a bunch of long runs.
Yeah. I've already wrote this game up for the website there, but they have been, absolutely nasty. Jerome Ford will hope for the best, but, But back to Flacco, so I just think we have a total of only 44. Will Anderson is back.
But part-time, though. He's not playing a lot.
Okay. 22% of Flacco's throws have been off target. So I'm just saying he's probably not going to crush it. That said, the guy's on fire. He's going to throw it 40 plus times.
Yep.
I don't really think Houston's defense is good enough to shut him down. So I already wrote this. To me, this game for Flacco, it depends on, it'll either be 300/2 with a pick or 300/1 with 2 picks. That really to me is the determining factor. But at the end of the day, I feel like he'll have a good game.
Well, what they're going to do is pick on Steven Nelson, the veteran corner, who's not the fleetest of foot. This is why the Eagles moved on from him a couple of years ago. They just knew it is a big issue. He's tough and physical and feisty, but he's just not fast enough.
Yeah, Cooper got him for the 200 plus. Steven Nelson was involved in that.
Him and Houston Carson. You could see Houston Carson, the veteran safety. You can see the back of his jersey. I believe he's number 30. The only reason why I know that is because I kept seeing him run downfield when Flacco and Cooper beat him. Houston Carson, I am right. He's number 30. DeAndre Houston Carson is a journeyman who was signed off the Ravens practice squad because he's starting. If you remember, they lost two defensive backs. One of them was the guy who came over, Jimmy Ward. Remember, came over from the Niners, and his backup MJ Stewart, who was a nickel. He's also on injury reserve. So the matchups are favorable here by personnel. I'm interested to see because Flacco is so fearless. The thing about him is he doesn't care that he throws picks. He's just going to keep throwing.
Yeah,
it's the way he is.
Yeah, he talked about how, and I wrote this too. This may be a part of the reason Joe is so cool in the playoffs. He actually likes the 1 week element of a playoff game, like the self-containment of the game, basically. It's 100% of my attention is on this game, and he likes that. But so many good data points on Cooper. Obviously, he crushed it. They are zone heavy, Houston. Cooper leading the team in yards per route run, 2.5, target share 21%. They run 2 high safety 62% of the time, 3rd highest rate in the league. Cooper crushes that. First read target share 29%, 3 yards per route run. So, do you think there's a chance they find a way to get Stingley on him more?
That I don't know, but the thing that I like is Flacco, though he really is good against man coverage. Houston, as you mentioned, your data shows they play so little man, though. The thing is, they'll throw it. They're going to throw it in Steven Nelson's side.
Yeah,
they're going to find it. Stefanski's really good at it.
Yeah,
him and Flacco built this really good working relationship. And to Kevin's credit, he's letting Joe fly with it. He's not restricting them. They're coming out throwing. The thing about Ford is, though, he's a versatile back. You can't sustain drives like you can with Chubb. They kind of know who they have to be.
Yeah, right. They're pass happy.
Yep. And you know what? And to Kevin's credit, he's not shutting them down when Joe throws some picks. He's like, all right, you throw a pick 6, keep throwing.
Yeah.
And Njoku, your guy Njoku looks good. They'll find when they're playing cover 3, which is a zone beater with a tight end. They'll find that he did score in the first matchup. Cooper embarrassed him, as you know, John. They tried everything on him. They could not stop him. That's incredible.
Yeah. Njoku averages a very high 3 yards per route run against 2 high safety coverage. Remember, he scored on a big play in that game. Now, he's no good against 1 single high safety, but they don't really play all that. Ford and Hunt, forget it. Touchdown only. Ford, usually good for double-digit carries, but he doesn't get a ton in the passing game, but he gets more than Hunt. I added it up. Hunt only has 25 yards receiving in the last 7 games. Real quick before we move on, Elijah Moore, not really great against zone. I kind of like David Bell as a deep sleeper here. Somebody else is going to have to step up, I believe.
Couple things. Yeah, potentially, because here's the other thing. Houston they're using Desmond King. He was a journeyman corner. Keeps getting cut,
29
which is
years
odd.
old.
They're going to use him. They're going to use him in nickel.
Mm-hmm.
MJ Stewart would have done that, but he's on injury reserve, so that does favor what you're talking about. And one thing for Dynasty League people, which I think is important to note, this is the time of year where I put this stuff out. I put Jerome Ford out last year to make sure you got him. Hopefully, people listen. You mentioned Tillman, who's not going to play with a concussion. I'm sure they're going to want Amari Cooper back next season. He's not. His contract voids after next season.
Yeah,
wouldn't shock me if they extended him. He's got a very high cap number of $23 million, and his base salary, which is not guaranteed, is $20 million. They're not going to want him on that contract. I based on the way he's played, I'm sure they'll try to extend him. But the thing is, Elijah Moore next season is the final year of his deal. They didn't draft him. Yes, they gave up draft capital to get him. Tillman eventually is going to be a starter. Now's the time to get him. Get him now, because he's not on anyone's radar. I'm telling you, he's going to start down the line, and it won't cost you anything.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be an ascending player. He kind of limped down the stretch. He's out for this game, but earlier in the year, there were a number of plays where he flashed. Now, for the Houston Texans, I feel a little bit better about Stroud, because it looks like Noah Brown at least will be available, right, Adam?
Got a chance. Yeah, much better chance. This back injury came out of nowhere. Yeah, he got hurt 2 games ago.
The Browns run single high at the league's highest rate. CJ Stroud, 2nd in YPA, 3rd in passing yards per game, blah, blah, blah. We can keep going here against single high, which Nico Collins is crushing. How about this? 3.8 yards per route run against single high.
Wow. And they play a crap load of man. They're 4th highest in the NFL in man coverage. You know what's interesting? Jason Vaughn, who he hosts a show with Quentin Michael for us on Inside the Birds. It's called Q&A. He really prefers man coverage. Jason said that because it's one-on-one, and he knows, even though he's not fast, physically and with his smarts, he could win. And that's what I've heard. Receivers like man coverage. Look, Cleveland's got the best cut. They're great. Now, if Ward doesn't play, John, it's a huge advantage. But Nico did score in the first matchup.
Yeah.
He did score.
It depends on the player, too, by the way. I once did TV with Quincy Enunwa.
Yeah, who I just saw last week on doing Jets coverage. Funny man. Yeah.
Pretty good guy. Yeah, pretty good, broadcaster. I don't know what he's doing in broadcasting, but that's the reason I did work with him. I was like, he was in the league. He was zone all the way, but
okay.
He was a big possession guy. He was a slot guy. He was a high volume guy, but
depends. Remember, he was a big receiver. He looked like an H-back, if you remember.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we can trust any of the secondary Browns receivers. So,
you just said, but you just said you did like Bell, though.
No, not Browns. I mean Texans. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Look, Nico Collins has been obviously awesome this season. It's a tough matchup. He can beat man coverage, but the problem is they take away, save like 2 games. The Colts game is kind of fluky. It's hard to throw deep against them. It's a challenge.
Now the Ward injury may help a little. Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, the fact that he got hurt in today's practice and he's a true questionable, because they would have to play. My sense is Newsom would play on the outside. Because it's Emerson and Ward on the outside when everybody's healthy. So that Newsom could do it. He started his career off outside and they moved him inside after that.
Yeah, and you might as well put all hands on deck to stop Nico Collins. You're not really worried about Johnny Mechie or Robert Woods. And then, Devin Singletary. I mean, I don't know which Browns defense will show up. Probably not a great version of it because they haven't traveled very well this year.
Yeah, and when you look at the one thing I would add, though, on Houston, you got Dalton Schultz, who did well because when Cleveland plays zone, they're very much they're cover 3 based. and that does give the opportunity for tight ends. And Dalton Schultz ran right down the seam, and he scored against them in the first game.
Well, they do play a lot of man.
Right. Well, no, but I'm saying when they play zone, it's cover 3. They're heavy cover 3.
Yeah.
He had a huge game, by the way. Actually, he didn't score, but he led them in targets, and he hit a couple nice plays. I watched that game. For some reason, they targeted Schultz a lot. He got open.
Yeah. He had 8 grabs for 61 with Case Keenum. But that was the game Flacco went off, so they were playing from behind too. But
in fact, that was the odd game where the Mills started and they put Keenum in, I think.
I believe so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but he's not great against man. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's not the entirety of the puzzle. When you really look at it, I mean, I'm sure he's going to get 5-6 grabs because they're going to have to. Like their running game can't really be counted on with Devin Singletary. Browns again, they're very boomer bust. Although weeks 9 through 18 data point here, they give up the 3rd lowest success rate on a per carry basis to running backs, the Browns. So, and Devin Singletary just does not get much usage in that passing game. Let's move on here. Wild card weekend edition of Matchup Points here at fantasypoints.com with me, John Hansen, and Mr. Adam Caplan. Miami at Kansas City. No Xavier Howard.
That's huge. Yep.
Javon Holland is a game time decision.
Yeah, actually, here's the deal. Let's start from back to front for Miami's defense. So Howard's out. Eli Apple will start. Now I know that it's going to be hard to pass because they may have to wear gloves. We're at 1 to 5 degrees hour by hour during the game. Wind should be 10 to 13 miles an hour. It will be hard to throw the football. Both safeties are hurt. Elliott probably won't play with his calf strain, Deshaun Elliott. So they'll put Brandon Jones back in, who started for years before his ACL injury. Javon Holland's had problem with both of his knees for weeks.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of time, then he came back, but they're still bothering him. He didn't do anything this week. They're going to try to work him out, see what happens. Mostert expects to play. Waddle should play. And Hill will play. Jalen Ramsey will play. Here's the thing, though, with Miami. Remember, Van Ginkel IR'd. Jerome Baker just came off IR last week. He got hurt again. He's done. He's IR'd.
He's that number 1 pick, wasn't he?
No, Jerome Baker is an inside linebacker. He was the guy who's kind of small.
They took a D lineman about 5 years ago. Who I forgot. But anyway, Phillips.
Wilkins. Christian Wilkins.
Well, yeah. Well, he's out.
No, Wilkins is playing.
No, Phillips is out. My bad.
Yes, Jalen Phillips is done. Tore his Achilles at MetLife Stadium. Chubb tours an ACL again. He's out. So
the 3 best pass rushers.
There's 6 starters out. I mean, it's really difficult. I know Chiefs' offense is struggling, but it's going to be hard for them. And the only thing about the Dolphins is, yes, they run the ball well, but they don't have a sustainer. I'm not saying they're going to go to Jeff Wilson. He's the biggest back of the group. Right. But I don't know how they're going to put. Like, this is a game you're going to have to run the ball a little bit here. It's going to be hard.
100%. That's their only chance.
Yeah. So I don't know if they have any. I don't know. They may just rotate guys in. It's hard for me to imagine that one guy's going to get a majority of the carries.
Casey allowed 4.28 yards per carry and a 51% success rate, 9th highest over the final 10 weeks of the season. So you do need to run the ball. But how about the weather numbers with Tua? I mean, here's some data. I think we talked about this the other day. And these are games just under 45 degrees, 0 wins, 4 losses, 55% completion rate, 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. And it's going to be like 7 out there. Now,
well, actually, you want to hear this, John? The game starts at 7 local time. Holy smokes.
No time it's going to be like 4.
Well, negative, 1 degree. I always go hour by hour. Nothing else matters to me. I don't care what happens before the game. It's only what happens during the game. During the game, of course, things could change. During the game, 1 degree to -3. Actually, it's colder than I thought. Winds 12 to 13 miles an hour. The over-under's, what did you say, 44?
No, that was the other game.
Yeah.
I'll find out, but, I don't know how anyone can take one of these Dolphins in like one of those drafts for the entirety of the postseason until one of the last 2 rounds. Like, it could get bad.
Chiefs are -4.5 and 43.5.
I mean, I would think the total would be a little lower with the weather, and I would think though KC would be favored by just a little bit more. But let me throw out some of the data to you. Like, Tua is good against 2 high safeties. That's good. Third best YPA. But, obviously the reason we're seeing a lot of 2 high safeties is because of guys like Tyreek Hill. So he is much less effective. Now, per our data points, we have some really good data points on Jalen Waddle. KC uses cover 4 and cover 6 40% of the time. Against those coverages, Waddle is averaging 2.54 yards per route run. Very good. So in theory, this is a Waddle game, but weather is a problem. And then what's the deal with his ankle? What do you think?
Oh, he's going to play. It's just I don't know how effective he's going to be. It's do or die. He's got to play, and you get as much as you can out of him. It's a tough deal. It's a shame that it looked like a quasi high ankle.
Yeah.
So that's it's a shame. And the other shame of it is I wish they used the tight end there. They really don't. Every once
I've been winning props on Durham Smythe though, because
a little bit, but I'm saying meaningful. Yeah. He's not a meaningful pass target. He'll never be. He's there to block.
Yeah,
it's just I wish they had. Obviously, they made the terrible mistake of franchising Mike Gesicki last year, which we knew was a mistake at the time. But they really have to invest in it. If they get a tight end, John, who could be a commanding pass target, just think about how well that offense could be.
Yeah, I was a little surprised they didn't dip into that pool last year with a great tight end class. They took that converted wide receiver kid who didn't make the team, whose name escapes me, but
last year?
Yeah. This year.
You're not
Higgins?
Ezukama?
No, not him.
Okay.
No, it was another kid. We can pull up the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
I'll pull up Miami's draft in a second. But so yeah, you don't really have a feel for Waddle's effectiveness, and
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to think he'll play a decent amount. I mean, the fact that he was out, he participated in the first walkthrough, which is good. Listening to
Elijah Higgins, 6th round pick.
Well, wait, you know where he is now, right?
He's on Arizona now.
And he made some plays. He's the converted receiver / tight end from Stanford. Yeah, because I was like, why is this guy bogarting my guy at Trey McBride? I saw that. Yeah, good call.
Mm-hmm.
Good call. Yeah. Did they draft him?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even remember that. Okay.
I was keeping my eye on it, waiting for
6th rounder. That's right. Yeah, cool.
Waiting for something to materialize.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to give my guy Doc Addix a shout out when I talk with him on the radio. I still talk with him all the time. He contributes to stuff that we do here, but his college roommate at Baylor, Durham Smythe's dad.
Oh, really?
Well, really? These old NFL guys, they know everybody, and there's always connections out the yin yang. Now,
one more. Tony is the only, not that anyone would be using him for daily. He's the only player they're concerned about for the game.
Okay.
Kansas City.
Now, Patty Mahomes, now certainly is going to get the benefit of Donovan Smith back at left tackle, all those edge rushers out, but it is schematically not the best matchup here. Vic Fangio, zone heavy, cover 3, cover 6. Mahomes is mediocre against those looks. I really do think that they need Kelsey in this game. So what do you think about Kelsey's ability? He should be well rested at least.
Yeah. So in Fangio, the predominant coverage is cover 3. That's Eagles when they were running his scheme. That's when Jonathan Gannon ran it last year. That was their predominant coverage, and some cover 6. What they're doing, what their goal is, folks, just to give you schematics, stop explosives, keep everything in front of you, and make you take 9-10 plays to score on us.
Yeah.
Which should be a
dunk to Kelsey.
Right. And that's why Kelsey should get good looks against their cover 3. I had a coach tell me that it's when it's going on, when he's got it going on, it's frustrating as hell, and they'll force turnovers because the quarterbacks get too jittery by the 10th play. They're like, oh man, we got to score it, and they make a dumb mistake. And you want your pass rush to get home. Now, when they were healthy, the Fangio defense with Miami was great, but they're so beat up now. So it's going to be Emmanuel Ogbah, who was with Kansas City early in his career. Justin Houston will play. Melvin Ingram has been with them for a bit. He'll play. And that's Bruce Irvin. I mean, they're going with the old Geezer crew here, and Zach Sealer, who's been a great story, being claimed off waivers from the Ravens years ago, has had a breakout season. And we mentioned Christian Wilkins. That's it. So at least the Dolphins should have problems getting pressure.
Dolphins giving up 7th most receptions to tight end, 6th most fantasy points. Kelsey did have a bad game. Where the hell was that? In London or Germany or whatever the hell it was. Yes. Could have been Taylor Swifted out for at that time. Rashee Rice against cover 3 and cover 4 and cover 6 leads the Chiefs in targets per route run, yards per route, everything basically since week 10. He's been Kelsey basically. So yeah, Kelsey, Rice, no surprise. And then Isaiah Pacheco, without McKinney, by the way. Pacheco plays 80% of the snaps, 5+ targets a game. Translation, they hate everyone there not named Isaiah Pacheco or Jerick McKinnon.
So a couple things here. So remember now, the Dolphins are down a bunch of inside players. So they're going with David Long, who's actually a good player coming over from Tennessee, and Duke Riley, who's really small. They just don't have any depth. And with the weather going to be like it is here, I would think that Pacheco could do well. I do like Pacheco. I don't know what his prop is, but I would think there'll be a lot of Pacheco. And by the way, McKinnon, on your point, did score on a check down in that game, so he's done. So it's all Pacheco here. I like Pacheco to get a lot of work in this game.
Let's take a look using the Fantasy Points Prop Finder, and we'll see if we can real quick find a Pacheco, some Pacheco. Actually, you know what? I don't know what the hell happened to it. It's not working right now. That's a bad look. It was working earlier. I might need to clear my cache. Oh, there it is.
Clear the cache.
Hold on there, fella. Let's take a look. Running backs. This prop tool thing is unbelievable.
I didn't know you had that. Nice.
Awesome. Oh yeah, pulls in all the best props, and then compares to our projections and comes up with the best bets. Now, I will say, nothing is truly standing out here, other than over the receiving yards, which tells me that the number must be fat. Because if there's not a big discrepancy, it doesn't even come up. So, I probably could bump up his rushing projection a little bit too with this weather, which I will. 77 yards. It's probably about 78, 80 yards, I'm going to guess, which is a bigger number, but probably a fair number. Let's go to Pittsburgh and Buffalo here. Steelers, no TJ Watt, though it looks like everybody else is okay. And then Bills seem pretty healthy.
Yeah, Bills are in good shape. So you're going to see Nick Herbig, who's Nate Herbig's younger brother, who's terrific. He had a great training camp. He is a really good player. You're going to see a lot of him in place of T.J. Watt. Alex Golden, you might Golden's been around forever, so you'll see him. This is Marcus Golden.
I was going to say
Alex Highsmith. I'm sorry, I get this mixed up. Alex Highsmith, and Atlanta Roberts will play with that pectoral injury. But Nick Herbig out of Wisconsin, the 4th rounder, is big time. You're going to see him, folks. Steelers fans know this. This kid's a really good football player. By the way, so
that game is off the board. It looks like
it's 10. I'm looking at it now. It's 10.
No, I'm talking about this KC game real quick for props. I don't even see.
I will look. Actually, the KC game.
Well, we have Isaiah Pacheco 15.5.
Okay, what? Rushing props, Pacheco. Does it matter which book we look at?
No. I don't
over 65.5. His prop is minus 115. for over 65.5. Under is minus 115.
Oh, that's over then. That's I don't know why I'm not seeing it on DraftKings, but they do have a 15.5 carry prop, which I mean, I only have one like 16 now, but I would go.
Well, he had 16 in the last game. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how they do that. So,
they get him tight. Man, I got so hosed on last week in the finale on what was it? Drake London. Oh, I'm still mad about that.
Oh, the one that crushed me was Dalton Schultz. He missed it by 3 yards.
Oh, you've been doing props?
A little bit, yeah. I was because we talk about them. You know, I call them fantasy props. I do them in the playoffs, like, a little bit. I like talking about them, and I got 2 right and I got 2 wrong. I was way off for George Pickens, but
I actually went with him and Deontay because I thought.
Oh wow! I
thought we would get 2 of those run after the catch plays. Honestly,
I thought they'd been funny. I thought they would go to George Pickens. Oh well, Deontay got it. But let's get back to the Pittsburgh game. Speaking of Pittsburgh, so everyone else is healthy. They're going to get Minka Fitzpatrick back. That's huge for them. They're going to get Devontae KZ back, who played well before the suspension. That'll help them. But here's the problem. Winds between in-game, hour by hour, 20 to 23 miles an hour. The snow might, again, we're 2 days out. It might stop before the game. Actually, 3 days out, technically. It might stop for the game, but it's going to be very windy. It's going to be hard to throw. And I do like the fact that the Steelers are running the hell out of it. They're running really well. Yeah. Buffalo's defense has gotten better. They got Jones back, their best run stopping D tackle recently.
They have been good.
They're playing good defense right now.
Yeah. Over the last 10 weeks of the season, the Bills have allowed just 3.71 yards per carry, 8th fewest, and a 45% success rate, 9th lowest. Now, the Steelers have been 71% run heavy in the second half with Mason Rudolph. They're not going to be able to do that with them being 10-point underdogs in Buffalo. So I don't like Rudolph here, but I'm sure Deontay, I think it'll be a Deontay game with a lot of targets.
Yeah, I would. Well, it's always hard to score against Buffalo. Buffalo's playing lights out defensively.
Yeah, like George is probably not making a big play.
Yeah, I don't see it with that weather.
So you need the volume guys, Deontay.
Yeah, well, again, when you say volume, I don't know how much they're going to throw it.
Hey, I mean, my man got peppered with targets last week compared to Pickens.
Yeah, I know, but look, the weather. It was rain last week. It wasn't that windy, but this week is really bad wind. Again, could be snow. It's the wind that worries me. I don't care too much about rain or wind. Rain or snow. It's always about wind and combining it with the inclement weather. So I do like Najee, though. I do. I want to see. Boy, he went over the total, the prop total, middle of the second quarter, or actually middle of third quarter this week. Let me see what his prop is.
I don't know why you would, though. I mean, he's so game script dependent.
I'm just saying if it's reasonable.
Right.
If it was fairly reasonable. Okay, so the player props. Let us see. If it's like 50 yards, hell yeah. No. I see. Okay. James
Bills
Cook, by the way.
Bills give up just a 3.7 explosive run rate.
Okay.
And a 9% explosive run rate on runs to the left and right. So they're not giving up explosive runs, which Najee actually gets, by the way.
I know. I'm looking for.
I wouldn't touch that puppy.
Yeah, but I want to see. Okay, rushing. Okay, here we go. Why don't they have? This is odd. They don't have Pittsburgh's. What the hell?
Well, sometimes these games they're not on the board yet. Or they won't
I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
I can call it up real quick while we're doing this live.
Yeah, I'm curious. I just want to see how reasonable it is.
Well, the receiving yards is over 7.5. I mean, there's no. I don't even have it here. There's no rhyme or reason.
Okay.
Let me see on DraftKings real quick. Here it is, 57.5.
Oh, Najee?
Yes.
That's not. That's I was hoping for 50 yards. That's actually reasonable. I need to think about that more. I was hoping to be certainly under 60. That's not too bad.
Well, I have them with 60, so I'm going to tell you don't bother. You're barking up. It's not worth it.
I mean, look, they could get blown out and they won't run it. But
that's it. That's going to happen.
It was funny because he got some checkdowns last week out of the blue. I thought that was interesting in rain.
Yeah, I think that was almost because Mason couldn't really complete a forward pass in the rain. He just he just checked it on down there.
All right. One thing, Gabe Davis, I believe, was a grade 1 PCL sprain. That's something you could play with. Grade 2, who definitely wouldn't be able to play.
Yeah.
There is one injury I do want to talk about. This is important because he's been playing really well. Rasul Douglas is starting on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a knee injury. He hasn't done anything, so he needs to work tomorrow to have a chance to play. So that I know it's going to be hard to pass because of the weather, but that we need to mention that because that does obviously help. The Steelers, they will take shot plays. They will do that.
Yeah, and based on alignment numbers, if Rasul Douglas is out or looks like he will be limited, that was another angle for me for Deontay. Now technically, by the way, Pickens does a little bit better here. I'm going to pull up that data point here against the coverages here. Let's see here. Damn it. What the hell? I had it, but lost it. But I think I personally would lean a little bit more toward Deontay Johnson, where George is just a little bit too big play dependent. And
I agree.
Buffalo, they don't give up big plays.
The thing about Deontay is, talking to Steelers about him, he is by far the best run after the catch player, and it killed him when he's missed time. He's very instinctive. Like he will, as you see, deep middle, he's awesome running after the catch. Pickens is more straight line-ish, 9-round vertical, whereas Deontay is more put it out there and I'll go get it and I'll run to daylight. They're really different the way that they run.
Well, here it is. Johnson, and this isn't a great number. It's okay. 1.72 yards per route run, team best 21% target share against zone, which obviously Buffalo runs. So that's why I think Deontay game for what it's worth.
Okay.
I do think they'll have to throw it a lot more than they want to. So
I'm just worried, John, though. I am worried before we move on here. One more thing. I am very worried about the wind. If it's like, no, forecast could change. The game is not till Sunday. We're talking here Thursday night. If it's like 15 miles an hour per lower or lower, okay, it's worth it. But if you're in the 20s and it's snowing, that's a tough one, man. Because I always look for advantage. When I do props a couple times a year, I only do it in the playoffs. I look for an advantage where I think the lines makers are totally missing it because you and I know better than they do in some instances. They just take averages, where we have better information. And sometimes you could find a value. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will say they are getting a lot better.
I'm sorry?
But they are getting a lot better.
They are, but there's always a mistake because you can't get everything right. You just have to find them. I'm just worried about the wind.
Like that, again, not to keep bringing it up, but that Khalil Shakir prop from 2 weeks ago, I'm like, this is Lock City.
Yeah, it was so low. I couldn't believe it. I mean, he's really involved in their offense.
Absolutely. He leads the Bills, Khalil Shakir does, in yards per route run in his starts. Pittsburgh allowing over 2 yards per route run to slot receivers, second most. Shakir is lining up inside on over 70% of his routes. I guess maybe he might be outside a little bit more if Gabe.
By the way, all right. Yeah. So with Shakir, they've cross-trained him on inside and outside, I'm told. So he could very well replace Gabe. Gabe Davis is what year is this?
This is it.
He's on a contract year. He was drafted in the fourth round 2020. They may not re-sign him. He will start if they don't sign Gabe. And remember now, Stephon Diggs has had a tough year. I'm sure he'll be on the football team next year, but he is 30. We think he's been slowing down a little bit. Shakir could very well be the future of that receiver position for them. Now, it won't cost you anything in a dynasty league. No one's on him like we are.
Pittsburgh playing single high safety coverage, 64% of their opponents' dropbacks the final 10 weeks, and Diggs crushes that. 37% first read target share. Now, I don't know. We're not getting that much of a first read target share lately, but that's a huge number. But on the other hand, they'll probably travel Joey Porter on his ass.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, when they play man, he's their travel player. He's a travel corner. So Yeah, that's why they drafted him, because they want to play more man coverage. So, all right, that's that game shouldn't be close, but it just shouldn't. I don't see it being close. It's a 10-point spread. I would agree with the lines maker. That should be 10.
Let's take a look. I don't see a Shakir prop though. Let me, because I would love that.
I'm not seeing it. I see Pickens, Diggs, and Giante. Wait,
they're scared. They're
Kincaid,
scared.
Frymouth, Jalen Warren, Allen Robinson, for goodness sake.
See, Shakir is going to hit the prop. They're afraid to put it up there. I'm telling you.
So ridiculous.
I like Shakir.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Anyway.
And you don't want Gabe. If he goes, you don't want Gabe against a man-heavy defense anyway. I mean, that's the bottom line with that. So Shakir. And then I would say Dalton Kincaid, who is second in target share against single high safety looks. They do have Dawson Knox back now. James Cook.
Oh, Knox has an illness. He didn't work today.
I saw that. Yeah. What do you think? Who's going to be the other back? Is it going to be playoff Lenny or Latavius?
They moved Fournette over Murray before. Now Fournette is back. He has to go back to the practice squad. That's the way it works. I would expect Fournette, but I don't know for sure. But I thought that was interesting what they did last week. And Fournette's a fantastic pass protector. Believe it or not, he's actually really good at it.
Let's go to Green Bay at Dallas.
It's a fun game.
I mean, what do we have injury-wise here?
Well,
Watson.
Alexander is really beat up. He's a new injury.
Yeah.
He has an ankle injury in addition to a shoulder injury. Dillon has not been cleared from the neck. A.J. Dillon has not been cleared. Doesn't look great for him. Tomorrow's a big day for him. That would be it. It looks they're going to get Jalen Reed back from his chest injury. Watson has a better than 50-50 chance to play. It's not a lot. Trust me, folks. I warned you about that weeks ago when you thought he'd play. I go, nope. He's got chronic. They've got to figure this out with him. This is not Isaac Bruce level hamstring problems, but it's a concern.
I mean, I thought maybe they like to get him going before he comes out raw in the playoffs, but they don't need him at the end of the day.
He adds, man. He
does. No, I know.
Fly.
He does.
He is a very unique player, and Wicks has been a great story. Musgrave should get cleared to play this game.
Well, my God, Bo Melton's the leading receiver the last 2 weeks, baby.
Yeah, well, because the other receiver's been hurt, but they're loaded with pass target. Their pass target group, and Dobbs, obviously. Dobbs should play. The word was around the club. They have got a super deep pass target group, and now they've got a deep cornerback group, but a couple of them don't run very well. And Gilmore jammed his shoulder. They thought he could be able to play. He didn't work today.
Yeah, he might not be able to raise one arm all the way up.
That's the problem, right? He's got to get flexibility. He might have dislocated it. I don't know what exactly it is. It didn't look good. That's really big. Like that would, because they like to play. They play a high percentage of man coverage, and man, I would want to slow down Jaden Reed. I guess if I have my druthers, that's the guy I would want to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. How about Jordan Love? He's actually averages a higher YPA when pressured than not.
Remember when I said to Brett Whitefield, it was that Detroit game, I go, man, I've never seen him look so comfortable. That was really the start of it.
Brutal. I mean, amazing. It's amazing.
He's been him and Stroud have been the best quarterback. I actually say that Love's been the best second half quarterback of the season. It's been ridiculously great.
Yep. Since week 10, completing 68% of his balls, 7.7 YPA, and a 20-3 touchdown to interception ratio. That's pretty ridiculous. Jaden Reed's on fire, but Dallas is holding it down against slot receivers. Just 57 yards per game during the regular season, fourth fewest. Now Reed lines up a lot all over. They run the ball. It is a little difficult because there's so many good guys here. Dobbs, Melton, even Wicks for sure.
Tell you what, if Watson or Dobbs don't play, I'm on Wicks this game. As a nice little sleeper, keep an eye on that for props.
I don't know how we shy away from my guy Melton, though. My man's got 15 catches.
You, but man, Dallas, Yeah, they're deep at corner, but remember now, Jordan Lewis doesn't run very well. He's just physical, tough, and smart.
And Deron Bland is not.
He gives up big. You could throw on that guy. He's another big play guy, but he gives up a lot of big plays.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little closer, I think, than some people might think.
Well, the problem with Green Bay, John, they give up so much spacing. Joe Barry's defense has been such an underachieving defense for so long.
We do have a nice total here. I'm going to call that up.
And it should be.
It should be. I think it's like 51.
Is it 50? Wow.
50.5.
Oh, yeah, mine would have been 48. Wow. Okay, I get it. I think it's fair. Don't have to worry about weather. And by the way, to your point, the number dropped from 7.5 to 7 or less 24 hours.
There you go. CeeDee Lamb is a little less effective against zone. These guys crush man, but Lamb is not lights out against zone. Brandon Cooks is good against at home. That data points to that. He's been hot anyway. Ferguson doesn't crush cover 3. Bad schematic matchup for him in some ways.
Okay.
So now maybe if Jair Alexander's not out, they'll change it up. But I'm going to go, you know where I'm leading all this to? I think it's a freaking Tony Pollard game.
Well, real, because Dak is going to kill them. Dak's going to go off on Green Bay's defense, secondary. He's going to kill them.
I mean, Packers over the final 10 games allowing 4.35 yards to carry, eighth most. I know it's freaking 19 weeks of this crap, and it's not like Pollard's been brutal.
I'm one of the few human beings that wasn't on him this year. I didn't want him. I didn't think he could handle being a lead back.
I didn't feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I had every opportunity. He's the one guy this year I'm proud I did not draft in 7 drafts.
Well, maybe it'll be like a Cooks game because it's not the greatest schematic matchup for Ferguson. I remember he had a similar one against Denver a couple weeks ago, and they did a pretty good job against him running down the seam. But hey, he's been great.
Although I would tell you, if you look at the who's who of tight ends that Green Bay faced lately, it's not exactly very good.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go to the Rams Lions quickly. I think we're going longer and deeper than.
It's good stuff. We only have 6 games.
Yeah,
I love this game. I cannot wait for this game. This is my favorite game of the week. I cannot wait for this game.
What do we have injury wise here? Because Detroit, they're giving up a lot of production lately in the passing game.
Well, here's what I don't understand. And Brett and I were talking when we had Brett on our show this week. I don't understand. Gardner Johnson's back. Brian Branch should be playing at outside corner over Kindle Vildor.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Kindle Vildor was cut by the Eagles from the practice squad 8 weeks ago.
Wow.
Or 6
or 8 weeks Jacobs, who's been hurt, is stinking.
Yeah, he got benched. He was hurt and he got benched. I know for a fact the team source told me that they thought Branch is their second best outside corner. I don't understand what they're doing.
I was saying Branch was one of the best corners in football in September.
I understand it. I don't care that he doesn't run in the 4.4s. It doesn't matter to me. The guy's a stud. Vildor should be their nickel. It should be. Gardner Johnson and Joseph here's the thing. This Melifuanu kid who had struggled his first years has played great. So they may make Gardner Johnson their nickel. Who knows? Because he played nickel. He was great nickel with the Saints. So that we don't know. But their secondary with Gardner Johnson back now should be better. Their pass rush has been much better because it was not good in the first half. Their pass rush is better. But the Rams, John, the thing that you can do with the Rams is they're going to do it. They're going to spread the lines out. The lines, as you just said, they're not good at corner. Cam Sutton can be beat. He's okay. But with DeMarcus Robinson, Nakua, and Kupp, how about DeMarcus Robinson, John? He's been like unstoppable.
I mean, how about this one? Over their last 5 games, Cooper Kupp leads the Rams in first read target share, followed very closely by Nakua, and DeMarcus Robinson is third with a 22% first read target share over the last 5 games.
Well, if you look at that plays to Robinson's targets, and they throw it to him in the red zone where the consecutive touchdown streak for 4 games.
It's just like they started 6 weeks ago. Let's throw him the ball. Like, let's see what happens.
Well, here's what happened. They signed him for two reasons: to block in the run game because he's really good at it, and he's an excellent special teams player. He got thrown in there for Tutu because Tutu was coming off an injury because they're having 11 personnel in a really good game. And after 2 games, he was so dominant, they took him off specials, which is not what they wanted.
He's been in the playoffs every single year of his career.
What's that?
He's been in the playoffs every single year of his career. Well, he was with KC for about half a decade.
Yeah. Well, not obviously with Baltimore last year.
Baltimore.
They ran out of receivers, so he had to play. But no, and he's their biggest receiver out of 3 of them.
Yep.
See, I like the Rams in this game as an upset special. I'm really good at picking these wild card games.
I can see it. No, I mean,
I'm picking them. I as much as I'm a Lions stan, I'm also a realist. They're not good enough, and I agree with you totally. They're not good enough at corner. And McVay knows this. It's a Stafford revenge game. It's a golf revenge game. I know. Yeah. And I know the Lions have a great offensive line, but the only thing I worry about for the Rams is their secondary. I don't know how they've gotten away with it. I know over the second half they begin with numbers, and I'm sure Goff and Ben Johnson will get together and they'll be good. But this could be a fun. What is the over/under total? Let me see.
51.5.
Oh boy, geez, it's higher than I thought. Oh man, holy smokes! They agree with me. This is gonna be a high-scoring game indoors, by the way. So, yeah. I like the Rams. I like the Rams in the money line. Forget the 3 points. I would take the. If I was a gambler, I'd take the plus 140.
Here are some data points here. Final 10 weeks of the season, Lions allowed a league high 281 passing yards per game and 8.5 YPA.
Not good.
Nakua lines up outside 70% of the time. Cup inside 62% of the time over the last. 10
but
weeks.
One thing with Nakua, his alignment is actually he's actually the split. If you see the way that he's technically outside, but he's not really out wide.
Understood.
Yeah, but that's fine. I get it.
But if he is out wide, he's likely on an outside corner.
Technically, yes. Yeah.
So I think the numbers probably still apply.
He's not a non-route guy. He's really his split is more inside than outside. He's just not he's a run after the catch,
crossing route
runner.
You know. Those crossing routes they run too.
Yeah, killer, absolutely killer.
Lions give up +8 schedule adjusted fantasy points to outside receivers, +3 to inside guys. I mentioned the Robinson detail there. Lions are actually getting hit by tight ends a little bit. You couldn't stop Johnny Munt last week if you tried.
That was embarrassing.
But I will say this. What if the Lions can snuff out Kyren Williams in the running game? That could complicate things a little bit.
Yeah, and you're right, because it all works. That system runs off the run game.
Yes. This seems a little too good to be true.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I'll disagree a little bit. Goff is, if you just look at the same situation, let's say the Rams shock us and they shut down Montgomery and Gibbs. Goff is so programmed, he needs a run game where Stafford does not.
Yeah. But here's some good stuff on Goff, though. Over the last 2 years, when he's at home and favored, he's averaging 295 passing yards a game, 2.6 passing touchdowns per game. The Rams are not a big pass rush team. Mm-hmm. They are allowing a well above average, 4th most passing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks over the last 10 weeks. Now, Sam Laporta, though, that is a buzzkill, but
he's very doubtful. He jerked that knee back. That was that didn't look good. I'd put him in the highly doubtful, very small chance to play. And if he plays, he's going to have to be limited. Mm-hmm. So, Mitchell hurt his hand, I think, in practice today. James Mitchell or yesterday. He's a really good athlete.
It's tight. It's tough to take the Lions. I still am going to stick with it for now, but Amon-Ra's catching like 13 balls.
He is. That was one I'd like to have back this season. I know I loved him this season. I just didn't get him on him. I don't know what happened, why I didn't have him. I was so damn high on him the last 2 years.
I mean, we ranked him at 10, which is ballsy because he had a second round ADP. We ranked him as a first rounder.
He's one of the few injury guys that I don't care about because as you always do, is you bake in a couple games missed. Who cares?
You know that he's not soft. So he's out. He's really out.
He's down as a bodybuilder, man. Yeah.
Yep. he is absolutely shredding zone defenses. 3.24 yards per route run. You don't like him against man.
And they're heavy zone. They are like 80% zone.
He's catching 13 balls in this game.
Yeah, he'll kill it. What's his prop before we move on to the final game? You know,
I haven't gone to that yet, but I can tell you in a second here. I wonder what I guarantee you the receiving prop is elite.
I got it. Okay. All right. Without looking, how many receptions do you think?
I said 7.5.
Oh, sure. You said it. Yeah. I like the over there. I like the over 90 yards. Well, I would put it this way. I like both. If I can only have one, I'd love over 7.5 receptions. You should get that in the first half.
Yeah, I'm not going to list that as a play. That's just too high for me. But I may go for the yardage there.
All right. Well, he'll get both. He should get both.
Yeah. And then the running game, it's critical. Like without Laporta, especially.
Yep.
I'm not worried about the Rams' run defense per se.
But Kyron over 80.5. As great as he's been, Detroit's run defense is tough.
That is almost too high. I'm now scared.
Yep.
Like what?
80.5 is hot. God damn it! Gibbs is only
really high.
Gibbs is only 52.5. Wow.
Well, this tells me that the books expect the Rams to win the game.
Oh, because it's going to go through Williams. I don't see that, man. It's hard to run against Detroit. That's the thing. That's why teams throw against them.
Yeah, I've taken 2 unders all year. I've done, I don't know, 400 props. 2 unders. I might do that one. Well, let's move on to the finale. And you tell us, Mr. Philadelphia Eagles, AJ Brown out of practice today.
Very questionable. The injuries to the side of his knee, which is in the MCL territory. The extra day certainly would help him if it's a grade 1 MCL. It'll be very questionable. I don't know. It's too early in the week. I don't know yet. I have a pretty good idea. So on everything else, so Devontae Smith will play. Quasi high ankle. It's been 3 weeks. He'll play. Darius Slay will play. He had the knee surgery. Swift is fine, coming back from the illness. Hurts dislocated his right middle finger. He'll play with. He might have to wear a glove. He wore a glove today at practice. Throw out the week 3 game where the Eagles killed them. A couple things you should know that the Eagles have changed their defense with Matt Patricia. The players don't understand what they're being asked to do. Baker Mayfield, I'm a little bit. What's that?
They're out of position all the time.
Yep, they're almost to the non-competitive stage. They're terrible defensively. For Tampa, Baker Mayfield has 2 injuries. The ribs injury is a little bit annoying for him. He has not played great the last 2 weeks. He said he suffered an ankle injury in the first quarter. In last week's game, he's just going to take the long week to get it right. Wirfs will be fine coming back from illness, so they're healthy. Mike Evans dropped like 2 touchdown passes in the first game, John. He'll kill them. Darius Slay does not run as well as he used to, and obviously Bradbury would be benched had not been for the big contract. Now Avonte Maddox is their slot corner. You know what? I want to see Trey Palmer's prop. Look at Trey Palmer's prop here.
Well, I mean, Avonte Maddox he might be their best corner.
Well, here's what happens though. When they go 11 personnel, Godwin goes inside and Trey Palmer plays outside.
That is true.
So
Palmer's prop is 23.5 yards.
I was just going to say, is it minus 110 or 115 though?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would, if it was plus, I would take it all year. I might take that one.
None of these are plus. None of these props are ever.
Yeah,
plus.
I know it's the way they get you, but I like him to make a big play in this game, and they'll go after Bradbury. Everybody goes after Bradbury.
How about the Godwin Evans props? Only 4.5 for both.
Let me see.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, what Evans? Evans, I don't care if it's like I'm taking minus 160 though. Oh man.
Well, on DraftKings, it's only 135.
Right, that's a better number. Yeah, I'm looking at MGM.
Yeah. But I will say, I try to avoid those props because it's almost an unfair stealing a win and putting people's money at risk, I guess. I've done a couple, but it's got to be. I've done 4, I think. It's got to be like a slam dunk, and I have gone 4-0 on them. This might be another one of those, but So you are going to take the Bucks. You're taking Baker Mayfield over Jalen Hurts.
Well, again,
right.
I'm looking at where the teams are right now. Now, I think Baker was playing well until he got hurt.
Yeah, yeah. What about the notion that Bowles blitzes a lot?
Well, here's the thing. The word I'm told, Eagles are terrible against cover zero. The Niners started doing it, and every team's doing it now. That they could not cover you. They could not block you last week, John. Terrible.
You're talking about the Eagles'
offensive line. Terrible. They're giving the pressure. They're giving up. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. So you think Hurts is going to have a rough go? Maybe.
I don't. I mean, it's his right throwing hand. It's his middle finger. I understand you could wear gloves. I don't know how well he's going to throw it. You know, this Bucs defense is not really good, anywhere nearly as good as it used to be. Now they're healthy. Now part of why they were struggling was Carlton Davis missed time. Jamel Dean missed a lot of time. They're all back now.
Yeah.
By the way, Davis did not play in the Week 3 game. Vita Vea played hurt in that game. They had another play. Jamel Dean got hurt in that game. So everything's changed now. Eagles are just they're playing one of the worst teams in football, John. 5 out of 6, no confidence. Terrible.
Let's see here.
Now they ran on them the first game in Week 3. They crushed them, but things have changed, folks. Things have changed.
Tampa Bay. I got some notes here from Brett Whitefield. Tampa Bay lined up with 4 DBs on the second most dropbacks this season. Jalen Hurts, not good. Only a 3.9% completion rate over expectations, 17th in the league, 73% catchable ball rate, 24th. So yeah.
Baker's really, Brett told us on Wednesday, Baker's good against cover one. Eagles are playing a decent amount of cover one.
Yeah.
And
Tampa giving up 5th lowest completion percentage against RPO passes.
By the way, the Eagles don't run RPOs well anymore. They're not RPO like they were last year. Oh, another one. Evans is killing it over the middle where the Eagles are struggling. Yeah. Killing on 7. Yeah. Evans is killing them.
Here it
not
is.
Just 9 routes, but he's killing it on deep overs. Evans is going to have a big game. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. And by the way, Slay's coming back from knee surgery.
Yeah, since Week 10, Philly has given up 0.58 fantasy points per drop back when lined up in single high coverage. Evans, 3 yards per route run against single high. That's a huge number.
Boom. See?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple things. One more thing. Reed Blankenship, who's one of their safeties, Byard's the other one. They already lost Sidney Brown for the season. The craziness of this game is if Reed Blankenship can't play, Zion McCollum's brother, Zion's the third corner for the Bucs, Tristan would start. He played his first snaps on defense last week for the Eagles after Blankenship got hurt. So
what are the Eagles going to do to offset this? Try and run the ball. You know, the Buccaneers gave up 3.6 yards per carry, 7th fewest, and a 45% success rate, 8th lowest over the final 10 weeks of the season.
Yep.
They're pretty healthy. What do you think about Swift and the Eagles looking to run the ball here?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. Cansey didn't play in the first game, and the Eagles ran over 200 yards against them. Things have changed now. The Bucs are finally healthy. Do I think they're going to come out running? Not really. What they do, though, sometimes is if they're running well, it has to be well, and they'll stick with it somewhat. If not, they just completely abandon it, and it'll be a pass ball game. And John, honestly, the way the Eagles are playing defense, it's going to have to be a throw ball game. It would be fairly surprising if the Eagles ran the ball a lot.
There it is. That was an hour. How about that? We didn't know, but you know, it's kind of nice. You know, I'm excited about the greatest weekend on the calendar year. Tomorrow, as you know, Adam, is my favorite day of the year. The Friday before the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow morning, folks. It's bright and early, 7 a.m. Eastern.
So I'm still gathering up stuff. I'm going to put together Hansen's hints tomorrow. I don't think I actually didn't do it last year for the playoffs, but the props have got me kind of energized. All the data we have has got me energized, so I'm into it. I like being correct. So when we have the data that helps me be more accurate, I'm into it. So I'm going to have all that up tomorrow with all the props. We thank our guy Trey on the other side of the glass. Adam, great stuff. Enjoy the playoffs, everyone. Oh, and I want to just quickly, if anyone's still watching, give a shout out to the FFPC. Join their playoff contest. Those guys are awesome. I'm going to be in that this year. That site is awesome. Even though I lost 30 grand by 4 points a couple of weeks ago. For Adam Caplan, I'm probably never going to get over that. For Adam Caplan, I'm John Hansen. Enjoy those wild card weekend games. Good luck in all your endeavors, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep.